Yeah, hi, this is Kevin Marin, and I'm going to be presenting the pattern C code for the final project for Clark Wallman Computer Science 110. This is Kevin Marin, and here we go. So first things first, this is the pattern that I'm trying to recreate, and also along with that, I also have to take this pattern and repeat it in a 4x4 fashion with inverted colors, which is what I'm going to show you in a bit. Here, if we go back to the presentation, hold on. There we go. Yes, and here it is. It's the main pattern repeated in a 4x4 grid with inverted colors, and as you can see, it's the same pattern repeated 4x4 times with inverted colors. If we move on here, we're going to set up the turtle, and we're going to import turtle so that we can actually start drawing in Python. And what this next line of code here does is that it sets up the window, and this sets up the background color to white, and I created a turtle named Alex, which draws the actual picture itself. And these two lines of code are important because it makes it so that it instantaneously draws the whole pattern itself without taking a long time. And these 6 lines of code down here positions the turtle so that when the pattern is being drawn, it will fit within the window. Now, moving on, we start off with the first function in the line of code, and that is core_square t size, color. So what this function overall does, it just draws this square here, and it starts right in the middle. It lifts up the pen, moves forward, begins to fill, turns left, and then just goes all the way around, and then fills in this square as with whatever color is used in this function here. And then it ends right here facing the right direction. That is the first part of this main shape. It's not the whole thing, but this is the output of the function. As you can see, it just draws the square and fills in the color. Now moving on to the second part of the shape, which is the these outside edges here. And oh yeah, also by the way, I forgot to mention about the size. This part of the function makes it so that it can be scaled up or down to make the whole pattern larger or smaller, but the default that I use is just 1. But I'll talk about that later. But anyways, yeah, this starts the turtle right here, and it just turns right, moves forward, and then just draws this whole edge right here. And the complicated part about this was finding the length from here to here of the diagonal, but I just used the Pythagorean theorem to figure that out. And I found out that the length from here to here is actually 14.1421, etc. And I did the same thing right here, and just goes all the way around. It ends right here. And here's the output of that function. Just draws this, and then also fills it in with whatever color is used. And then here's the main shape, and what it does is that it connects those the 2 previous functions together, while also repeating the edge 4 times on all sides of the square. But here it is. It creates the square by starting here, creates the square, ends right here, which is where the start of the edge is drawn, and it draws the edge, ends here, and it moves over here, faces this direction, and draws the edge again, and then repeats that for all 4 of the sides of the square. And not only that, but the colors of each part can also be modified. Color 1 affects the color of the middle square, and color 2 changes the color of the outside edges here. And also, you can also change the size of the this whole shape itself. Now the 4th function, define repeat main shape. What this does is that it just makes a copy of the same pattern and moves over here, and it makes that same pattern over here. And I'll be going into how it connects to each other later. It just connects these 2 together. Does the same thing. You can change the color of the middle square with color 1. You can change the outside edge of the square, color 2, and it also affects the same with the copied main shape here. And you can also adjust the size of that. And also they are 80 units away from each other, by the way. The 5th function, what this does is that it fills in these odd edges on the outside of the function that will be repeated later on. So it just creates these edges right here. It creates the edge, starts right here, and ends right here, moves up here, makes the edge, moves up here, makes the edge, and it ends right here. And this is what that function does, and it mainly uses color 2. We don't need to use color 1 here. We just mainly use color 2. And moving on to the 6th function, what this does is that it connects the 5th and 4th function together. So it connects this to the main shapes here together, and then it adds those odd edges that are not really connected to those main shapes to the outside here. It just connects these 2 together, and it creates the 1x4 main pattern. And again, color 1 is the square in the middle. Color 2 is the edges in general, and it creates the 1x4 main pattern. And the 7th function, what this does is that it takes the 1x4 pattern and it flips it, and it starts it right here, and it does it upside down, and it does the same pattern going this direction instead of going the right direction. And it's also placed down here. It starts right here, and then goes from right to left. It does the same pattern as the this top pattern here. This is the defining function 2x4 main pattern, and does the same thing as the last function, just flipped. And again, it does the same as the last function, except that it does the same thing. It does the 2x4 main pattern, does this sort of like a snake. It goes like this, starts here, and then ends here, repeats, and then starts here, ends here, and then and it makes this 4x4 main pattern, which is going to be again repeated. And yes, it can also be resized, and the colors can be customized. And for the ninth function, what this does is that it makes it's basically the same 4x4 main pattern function, except that the colors are just inverted. And that's pretty much it. And we'll see how that gets put into use. And then for the 10th function, what this does is that it just does a 1x4 grid of the regular main pattern, the inverted main pattern, and then it does that 4 times. So regular, inverted, and a part of the 1x4 grid. And then for the 11th function, it does a 2x4 of that, and it does that snake thing that I was talking about earlier. It starts here, and then ends like somewhere around this area, and then it makes the 2x4 grid. And then the last part is the 4x4 grid, which is the final part, and that I will be showing right now. Here we go. So, oops, okay, there we go. Let me just pull up the code right here. Here it is. But here, I'll test it out for you just to make double check on that. Here's the all the code itself put together in order, and here is the last function that I call the 4x4 underscore grid t size color 1 color 2. So this first one, it just calls Alex, and the size, the preferable size that mainly works and fits in the window is 1. You can go up higher, but it won't fit in the window. And then the again, this first color here changes the color of the middle square of the pattern, and then the second color here just changes the color of the outside edges. And then if we actually test that out, Control Save F5, we can see that it actually works here. And then it does this in that sort of snake pattern here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And yeah, also if we I'll test out for you just cause if we adjust the size here to like 2, it's totally possible, but again, it won't fit in the window if we save that and we actually run the code. It's just way too big. But I mean, you can use decimals, for example, make it slightly bigger but not too big. It does make it bigger. It still does fit in the window, but it's highly recommended with my code that I use to stay with 1 or lower than that. Or you can go a little bit higher with decimals. Either way, it works. Here's the code. It matches. It's color switched in the color switched pattern. Let me pull up the project picture here so that side by side. Here we are. So here's the main pattern right here. And here it is color switched, which I did right here. And there we go. Thanks for watching.